Good morning, everybody. Hello. I'm going to be quiet today. Way over there's on holiday, I guess, right? It's the 26th here now. Our holiday weekend was last weekend, actually. It was the 22nd and 23rd was a holiday here. 24th as well. The Emperor's birthday. Well, you can see where we're at. We're coming to the end of the line. This is the last of the blocks. I thought this had been finished. We discovered a few days ago that it wasn't actually done yet. I must have skipped ahead to a different block when I was doing this. I don't remember why. So you can see what we're at today. It's going to be very quiet, clearly. No persuading this morning. Very quiet, carving dots. And I had a little race with myself this morning. We did a video yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday. The shop was closed, so I set up the camera and stuff and made a video. It's the video that's going to introduce next year's series, and it's in the can. I just finished it last night. Did a test run. Needed to make some adjustments this morning, and I just finished rendering it about 15 minutes ago. And I actually considered cancelling the stream this morning so I could upload it to YouTube, but I'll do that as soon as. I can't do both at the same time. I can't upload a 4 gigabyte movie to YouTube while we're streaming. I probably could, but it's not worth trying. So as soon as we're finished the stream this morning, the new video will go up on YouTube. It's not a production video, it's announcing the new series. And as part of the explanation in the middle, I do show scenes of carving, but it's all stuff that came from the Twitch stream over the last couple of weeks. Paper is out. Thank you very much. Thank you for reminding me. There's paper out this morning. Suga-san is coming and Ishikawa-san is coming. They're both printing the next year's series. Neither of them are happy. This is so funny. We talked about this last week. They're both really struggling. They're going to make a good print. It's okay. But they're not. They're struggling because it's stuff that they haven't really done before. They've done it, but not in this kind of a production sense. You know, they've made gradations, of course, but they haven't made a print with this many gradations. And the big problem is they're not working on so many copies. They're working on just 40 or 50 copies at a time. And when you're only making 40 or 50 copies of a print, you do a gradation. It means putting water on the block, water on the surface of the paper. And that water has to soak through and really get deeply into the paper before you can do the next impression. If you're doing a couple of hundred prints, it's okay, because you make a print, you put water on the block, and it gets on the paper. But the paper then goes into the stack, and it's like 200 sheets later until it comes around again. So that's going to be at least a few hours and probably another day. So the paper has time to recover between impressions. But when you're only doing 40 prints, or even worse, when you're only doing test printing, then the paper is still moist. It's not evened out. It's not smooth enough. So they're really struggling with this. I've shown them how to handle it, how to do it, how to use extra paper to take out the moisture. But they don't have the experience yet to feel comfortable with it. So they're struggling with that. I reported the other day the conversation I had with Ishikawa-san. She was really struggling to the point where she said, "Look, I can't do this. Take me off this job. Let me do something else." That would be disastrous. She's going to learn how to do this. It's okay. But what she said was she's not having any fun, and she wasn't having any fun, clearly. I tried to remind her about before she started working here professionally. She did printmaking as a hobby for fun, And she always struggled with new stuff. She didn't know what she was doing. It was a hobby for her. She wasn't professional. So she was always struggling. But I pointed out to her, when you were doing it as an amateur, the struggle was fun, right? And she said, yeah, I was. Yeah. So I just tried to get her to recapture that same feeling when you're trying to figure out how to do something and learning how to do it. That's the fun part. But she wasn't convinced. got to start being a bit more careful with the box of tools here. When I was doing the video editing yesterday, I went back through the Twitch streams over the past few weeks to try and find clips to use to make the video that shows how the next year's print was made. And it's not, I don't actually listen to the Twitch streams, of course, I make these things, but I don't actually play them back and listen to them. So this was one of the first experiences in quite a long time, for me to listen to these streams. I didn't listen to them all, but I jumped through, looking for places that would be interesting to use for this YouTube video. And any number of times I'd noticed while playing through the stream, there's places where I go to the box here and dig out another tool. And that's where my microphone lives. The microphone is clipped to the edge of that box. And I didn't realize actually how noisy that was when I go and look for tools. I'm sorry about that. I go rummaging in there, metal bangs against stuff, and it's all clicking around. And it really jumps noisily into the stream, and I hadn't realized that, so I'll try and be a bit more careful about that. Maybe I should move the mic to a different location, or... Also, before I forget, we have some great show and tell today. We got a special package yesterday. Just on Christmas Day, I mean, it was wow. I knew it was coming because it was stuff that we got at a sale, but we have a great show and tell today. Please wait. Actually, it's going to be a normal day for us today. Cameron's coming. He's going to be here at... he might be a bit early. He's normally here, between 8:30 and 8:45, but he's been off for 4 days. There is a ton of backlogged stuff waiting for him, so he might be here a bit early because of that. So for the show and tell, I should probably wait till he gets here. It's not prints, it's something else. It's something much more interesting. More interesting than woodblock prints. Papers out of the freezer. Yes, thanks very much. 2 packs are out. Thanks for reminding me. I know. Is there an imprint on my fingertip? There is indeed. I know. Yes and no, actually. I'm carving like this. So here on the fingertip here, there is a hard spot now. There's a bit of hard skin. Where is it? This area right here has turned into a bit of hard skin. But if I didn't tell you about it, you wouldn't know. There's no obvious big callus or something like this. Look at this. It's not so dramatic. But there is a little bit of hard skin right here. I go like this. And I wrote when I was doing my story a week years and years ago, I wrote a semi-look sort of, I know it's a spoof. I wrote a spoof of a little mystery story. I don't even remember the details now. It was, the root of it goes back to, I was at a party years ago. Somebody was giving a a semi-promotion party for people who were involved in traditional crafts. It was one of the guys who was collecting my work when I was making Sulimano albums. I had been invited to this party, and they had also invited a bunch of other traditional craftsmen from different fields. It wasn't just woodblock craftsmen. At this, it was a New Year's party, I think, actually, a New Year's Christmas party. And there were a bunch of different craftsmen from different fields involved. And there was different tables all around the room. And one of the tables, there was, 5 or 6 of us. And there was also at the same table as me, one of the old traditional printers, a guy who would help me a little bit when I was first starting out here. And I don't remember at this point how the conversation got started. I don't even remember how it got brought up. But the idea of that your hands, different craftsmen had calluses. I think, somebody in the table, some lady had asked me, your hands look sort of fairly clean. It didn't look like a craftsman's hands. My hands look sort of more like an office person's hand. There's no obvious staining or calluses or marks to show what my work is. And because there was another professional printer at the table, I used the example, and we asked him to put his hands on the table and pointed out that you could tell actually that he was a traditional printer, because there was a couple of places on his hands where you hold the baron and you put pressure with your palm. So there's a place on the palm here that shows a mark, and sometimes for some printers it shows on the back of their knuckles when they press on the baron. Some people it doesn't. So he put his hands on the table, and I talked about it, blah, 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 blah. And the idea came up around the table in discussion that you could probably tell, if somebody who knew the details of this, you could ask traditional craftsmen to stand in a row and hold out their hands, and someone who knew what was going on could actually tell, you're a woodblock printmaker, you're a this, you're a that. The obvious example is somebody who's a traditional indigo dyer. His hands are blue up to the elbows, or whatever. That's an obvious, easy example. And it became a really interesting, we chatted about this for a while. Somebody said, man, we should make a book about this. You could see the first, each page, double page spread, the guy's hands, front and back. And then you got to guess what job he's doing. And then you turn the page and there's some pictures of him doing the job so you can see what marks go on his hands and stuff like that. And everybody's all like, oh yeah, let's do this book. And whatever, it didn't happen. I got better things to do with my life than this. But it would be a really, really interesting idea. And in our world, the carvers and printers, they do. They have calluses and marks on their hands in different places. A printer in our field has much more obvious calluses because of the physical pressure of the baron day by day by day. And a carver really doesn't have anything except that little single spot of hard skin under one of his fingers. I use my middle finger. Some carvers use their index finger. There's really nothing else for us that would show. We just hold a hammer and bang, and we hold our other chisels with our hands. So. Oops, do you see what we had did there? Look at this, can you see it in this? Broke the knife. Can you see it? Flat tip, we broke a lot off. Wow, how did I do that? First, let's get the piece out. Somewhere in here there's a piece of knife blade. Must be in here somewhere. There it is, I can feel it. There it is. This is a big piece, look at that. Doesn't want to come up. There it is. Ta-da! Can we zoom in? I think it probably zoomed in as far as we can go. There's our triangle, broken knife. That's a big piece to break off. Okay, no problem. It's sharpening. it's good. I don't think we've had a sharpening on this stream now for quite a while, actually. Where's my stone? There it is. This is the blade, I think now, this is the blade that back at the beginning when this was new, this was breaking a lot. When the thing was really quite long here, it broke a lot. And at the time we chatted about this, it could have been an indication that it was a terrible blade, or just, it was really very common at the very end of the blade, it breaks easily. This one did settle in, and I don't think I've broken it now. I don't even remember. Months and months and months. When's the last time we did this? Also, I'm going to pull it out a bit because we've let it go a bit short here. I don't know how much we talk about this. You can see the length of the blade here. If I don't pull it out, if I just let it get shorter and shorter and shorter, then as we put the angle here, the angle changes actually. It gets fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. Imagine this, the longer the blade is pulled out, keeping it here, the more acute the angle of the tip gets. And if I let the blade get too short, imagine if it was really short, it would be sharpening like this. The angle would get fatter. So this is now time, it's actually past time for me to pull this out and make it a bit longer again. I need a new ferrule for this one, you know, I've just postponed it time and time again. I need a new brass ring. The brass ring is, it's gone right through. It won't even hold itself. That's where this tape is here. This is embarrassing. There's the ring out. Here we go. Now the blade I'm using, I've got some tape wrapped around it because the hole on my knife here, the slot, over the years has grown and grown and wobbled and wobbled. It's time for me to make a new handle completely, but anyway, so there we are. We're here now. We've got lots of length left on this blade. This blade it'll come down to about here somewhere, so there's time for more, dozens of more sharpenings. It's okay. We're nowhere near the end of this blade. But let's pull it out a bit. Somewhere about there. A bit more maybe. Okay, now because this is broken so badly, we need the strongest stone. It says 400. Oh. Where's my water? How old is that handle? Not as old as I am, but close. I don't know. A few years. Yeah, it's at least as old as the Asakusa shop, a couple of years older, because, before Asakusa, the shop opened here in 2014. Before that, up to 2012, when the Hero started, I was working by myself to show as a carver and printer. So I did lots and lots and lots and lots of carving. I did weeks and weeks just working as a carver, nothing else, then switched to being a printer. So up until 2012, I was a full-time printmaking craftsman, half carving, half printing. So my tools got much more care and attention. Up to 2012, that's when I started hiring people to work with me, and my own work schedule went crazy. Then when we opened the shop in Asakusa, that's it. That was the end of my craftsman's year. So this handle dates back at least to that time. So it's probably 2010 or something. I don't know. It's embarrassing. But again, I'm not a full-time craftsman anymore. Not at all, There's probably people watching this stream who get more carving time than I do. In fact, not probably. Certainly. Can't see the shape. Let's get this out of there. Okay, we're getting there, but we've let it become a bit too, what's the word? Obtuse. We need to cut this angle down a bit more. I don't think it's that old, but actually I could tell. I think this is the fourth handle. And when I'm finished with stuff like this, I don't actually throw it in the garbage. There's a drawer in my workshop where all the old broken knives, not the old broken knives, the worn out knife blades and worn out handles, I toss them in a drawer there. It's something a bit quirky in my character. I can't throw them away. After working together for so many years with a tool, I can't just sort of toss it in the trash. So there's a drawer in my house which has all the old handles and knives and stuff. And I'd have to count. I think this is the fourth one, I think, since I started. Being fun to dig in there one day and see what's in there. That was a big break, so it takes a while. If that was 2 millimeters missing, so you've got to cut right back 2 millimeters to find the point again. A little bit more. What's also perhaps not visible to you watching is that when I started this a minute ago, I was pressing quite hard, making long, vigorous strokes. We want to cut away as much metal as possible. And now we're getting closer to the shape that I want. The pressure is reduced. The harder you push on these stones, the more violent the scratches are. And as you get closer to the shape that you want to get rid of those scratches. So less pressure, drop the pressure. I think before I was making vigorous long strokes. You can make the strokes a bit shorter too at this point. Switching to the next stone will take out those scratches, but minimizing them before you make the switch obviously helps. So bit by bit, as you get towards the end of the time on each stone, drop the pressure. I think we're done on this one now. Let's see. So basically now the shape of the knife has been restored. It's back to a triangle at the correct angle or near the correct angle. It's not sharp, but it's the right shape. This is 1,000. I could use 1,000 or a 12. I think at this stage would be fine. 1,200. This one's where the sharpening process normally starts each time. When the knife is not broken, it's just dull, you come to the 1,000, the medium grit, to sharpen it up. You guys have gone quiet. Too, this might be a bit misleading. Sharpening normally doesn't take anywhere near this long. To sharpen the tools, literally it's 2 minutes, maybe, whatever, usually, to sharpen the knife. When there's no breakage, It's not a chore. It's not something like, oh my God, here I go. I have to do my sharpening again. What am I going to do? It's just a normal part of the daily routine, any number of times a day. Again, you don't see that because you just see me working for a few minutes each day. You don't see the sharpening and stuff. But on a typical day's work, I was carving those dots or something all day long. I don't know, every couple of hours or so. I don't know what to say. It really varies on the type of work you're doing. If you're cutting fine hairlines or something, you have to be really, really careful to keep it sharp. But when you're doing rougher work like those dots, where it doesn't matter at all, all you need is the functionality, and it doesn't have to be razor sharp. Keeping it too sharp for that is it breaks too easily. On the back side here, Manny, I don't know if you know what we're doing here. This is the bevel side of the knife, trying to keep the bevel at the right angle, both the angle this way and the angle this way. This is the bevel side. And then now the back side, holding it flat on the knife, on the stone. Here. And I don't know if you can see, let's try and get close in. This is a hollow ground back on this blade. The back of the blade is not actually flat, it's ground out in a hollow shape. Let's see if we can try and find the right angle here. You can see it there, right? You can see it. There's what looks like a dark area in the blade. That's the part that's not touching this stone. It's cut in a shallow grind. So on the stone here, the stone just touches the edges and the tip. And what this does, it keeps all the sharpness at the very tip. If it was a flat back, if the blade was absolutely flat, you'd never get it flat on the stone. You'd always be rubbing a little bit on the edges of the thing. But by keeping it hollow ground, that focuses the stone onto the very tip itself and the edges. We get the absolute sharp. There's no way we could work without a knife that's not hollow ground. And the cheap junk you buy these days is not. But there's one maker still here in Tokyo who still does it this way. what he must do is, as the blades are made, on the back side of each one, he must use a very, very large disc grinding wheel. If it was a small disc wheel, there'd be a real U shape there. But he must use a huge, large wheel and just put the back of the blade on it that gives it that hollow ground. It really makes a huge difference to us. Now for the last step, I use natural stone. I don't know, it's probably, I guess there's diamond stones that could go all the way. Just, I can't let go completely of using natural stones, you know. These diamond stones work so wonderfully. They're just, once I switch to using this, I'll never go back. There's no question. They're far superior to the natural stones. The biggest problem with us with the natural stones is when you're sharpening, no matter how careful you are to move around the stone to different areas, inevitably the stone itself gets worn down. And you got to keep your attention getting it flat. So I suppose I should switch to diamond stones. And one of the guys, Yuasa-san here, living near here over in Sumida, he's got the East Tokyo Mokuhanga workshop. He has switched now. Instead of using stones, he uses a special kind of sandpaper for his final polishing. I guess there's a super fine sandpaper. He puts it on a flat surface and he uses his knife on that. He swears by that, but I guess it's okay, whatever, anything that works. Just it's for sentimental reasons more than anything else for me, just to keep this stone. And then the last step, it's flat on the back, and we're going to tip it up. I'm going to lift lift the knife up a bit like this, and make a couple of strokes. And what that has done is the very edge, this has put a bevel on the back surface on the edge. Instead of being totally flat here now, it's beveled this way, very slightly. Without that, the edge just crumbles and breaks in seconds. And then something else. The absolute sharp tip has to come off. So I put the heel of this thing on the stone, lift it up, and again. Now we've taken off the very tip. If we didn't take it off, it would just crumble as we put it into the wood anyway. So we're just going to knock off the tip. So we've got a blade that's sharp along the blade. It's a sharp, acute angle, but the absolute razor edge is now gone. We're not shaving hair here, we're cutting cherry wood. Okay, I think we're done. Good luck finding hologram blades of this size, you know. When you buy woodworking chisels, big ones, or flat plain blades, you look on the back, you can see hologram stuff. Because on big blades, it's relatively easy to do. But good luck finding blades of this size that are properly hologrammed. Okay, let's get back to it. Probably break again. Right. Right next to the microphone. Last year on Christmas time, we showed some old videos and movies from 1950s Japan. What were those videos? I don't remember what we did. I haven't even been on Twitch for 2 years. I started on Twitch, it was 2 summers ago, so this is not, I haven't been 2 years ago. I'm not sure what you're asking about. 1950s Japan. We have an old video here, a dub of an old movie about Kawase Hasui, the Shin Hanga designer. There's a video that Watanabe made in the 1950s. I think we showed that here on the Twitch stream one day. And is that the one you mean? I've got a copy of it here. I can't release it. I can't post it to YouTube because it's protected. It's owned by the Watanabe company, and I can't just dump it to YouTube. And we sort of skated the law a little bit by playing it here on Twitch one day. If that's the one you mean, and maybe we could do that again at some point. Look at sharp. It's too sharp for this job, actually. You don't need a knife this sharp. Can you see it now? It's got a nice point. If you can see that bevel that we took off. The back of the blade is shine. There, you can see the hologram part really, really clearly. But can you see the bevel at the edge of the blade? I don't know. Try and find the right angle here. Okay, you can see the hollow ground on the back, that's clear. But what I want you to look at, right at the edge, there we are, see that? The shiny part there? That's a bevel on the back side. We've beveled the back. If that wasn't there, the shine would just go right to the end of the tip. But we've beveled the tip there to take off the absolute sharpest point on the back, sharpest edge. And here's the front surface. Let's try and find the angle so it shines. There you go. And you should be able to see the difference between the two parts of steel. There's a different color. There's the edge right there. See it? The shiny part here, this is the hard steel. And behind it, backing it, is the softer steel. The softer steel is this part. The harder steel is this part. If the whole blade was just the hard steel, the whole thing would just break and crack and just come apart easily. But it's the softer steel on the back here, lower carbon, that provides the physical structure for the knife, and it's the hard steel on the cutting edge that provides, the edge. But it's very, very, very brittle. What's the next zone? There's the edge. Okay, there's... Oops, am I off camera? Bit out the edge, sorry. We're getting closer, I'm not sure how far this thing will zoom in. Oops. It'll lose focus. The history of printmaking, whatever. The Japanese were really late to the party, you know. Japanese were really late. I know Europeans had a really complex carving way before the Japanese did. Chinese think they're the first to invent everything, whatever. I mean, woodblock printmaking is not one of those things that was invented by one specific culture and then spread around the world. It's so easy and so low tech that anybody in any culture who works with tools and bits of wood and whatever soon figures out what to do. And you can see the DNA is different. For example, even the Chinese ones, the Chinese carving and Chinese printing are different tools, different structure, different paper, different everything from the Japanese. So the idea is there to make impressions on a sheet of something by means of, you know, what they call a matrix, a piece of wood. The idea is cross-cultural, and the specific implementation is quite different in each of the cultures. But the Europeans were really, really early with this, and the Japanese were really, really late. So there's no claim here in Japan to having invented this stuff, whatever. The Japanese brought their own sensibility to it, they had a beautiful washi already existing here in Japan back into the 1000 era. long before printmaking started. So by the time printmaking was thought of here, the washi was already in place, and printmaking developed around that beautiful paper base. So, but Europeans were way, way earlier to the party than the Japanese. The big mover clearly in the development of things like printing and printmaking was the culture. The thing we call Renaissance, the Enlightenment. There was a requirement and a need for information to be communicated. So printing and printmaking just exploded. And in Japan, there was no requirement for information to be distributed. It was against the culture completely. In the era of Japan being closed, there was no thought at all that information should be communicated and passed around. So the Europeans had a specific requirement and a need for it. Publish. The Japanese didn't have that. How did you spend your Christmas? I watched this guy in Japan carving dots on an octopus skin. Really? It's a bit too deep, so be careful. Easy to break it. Ho, 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 ho. Am I sustaining a decent life just by carving? Well, life is a bit different these days, but before we opened the shop here, before I had employees, I worked for 25 years as an independent woodblock printmaker, and every month or so I published a print. I carved it for a couple of weeks, printed for a couple of weeks, sent them out to subscribers, went back and did it again. I followed that pattern for about 25 years. Nowadays, these days, I don't do just carving. We have a business here with 24 or 25 employees, 4 carvers here, bunch of printers, all kinds of stuff going on. So these days I am not just a carver. But yeah, for 25 years I did carve and print and make a living at it. Brought my kids up, bought a house, you name it. Now what about the show and tell? It's 9 o'clock. Let's do this. We're going to run out of time for a show and tell. Cameron's late. I thought he was going to be here early this morning. He's got to blame on the trains. Likely story. Let's zoom out. I got a really fun show and tell. Did I get a haircut? Yeah, I had a haircut this year, once, twice. Okay, oh no, before I show you this, do you remember last week we did some washing of prints? I put some prints in a bathtub. They're still here, somewhere out here. I put some prints. Well, I'm not going to show them all over again, but the point being, we had some small prints here. We had a book which had prints bound into it, and those prints were on the back card, and we put them in a bathtub and we floated them off, so the prints are now smooth and loose on their paper. That's the background story to this. That happened last week. We showed you these beautiful prints. They're roughly postcard size, extremely detailed. And one of the questions about me with these prints is, were they really handmade? Now once you get them off the backing, we can see, I don't know if you can see it here under the light, there's striations from the movement of the barrel. You can see them here on this one. Once the backing paper is off, you can see the leftover striations. The colors here have been printed by hand, rubbed on wood blocks. And then under the microscope myself, looking at things like the tiny lettering and the shapes, I can see places where there are clear evidence of the fact that these are carved by hand. And again, this is a really important point. People are asking about this stuff. Some of these little prints were made on metal blocks. In other words, what they did was they would get, imagine, there's a drawing of something, whatever, and they photograph it, shrink it down with a metal block, and make it that way. You don't need to think about being hand carved. But looking at these under the microscope, you can see evidence of the hand carving. If this is just a photographic reproduction, let me see this corner here where the T is. Let me blow it up large. If this was a photographic reproduction, you would have a T that looked like this. But if it was carved by hand, what you get is you get a T that tends to look like this. See the difference? Instead of just being click, click, the knife, when it's cutting here, the knife bangs into here a little bit, and you can see little tiny places. Now, they're not all mechanically the same. They're different here and there, here and there. Some of them may be actually quite a bit big, and we're talking about a microscopic scale. So you can see under the scope whether something has been carved by hand or whether it's been photographically reproduced. Even on the photographic ones, these corners tend to be round, because the etching process or whatever that they used couldn't make a clean, sharp corner. Anyway, long story short, I've looked at any number of these prints under the scope, and they are hand carved. If so, where are the blocks? Show me the money. Show me the blocks. First, this design, it's in our shop here. This is a Hiroshige design from the Kiso Kaido series. You know the Tokaido series, Tokyo to Kyoto, back and forth. This is the Kiso Kaido series. It's the print called Seba. It's a washing horse is the literal meaning of the place. It's just a place name. There's no horses being washed in the picture. It's a place name, Seba. It's a location on the Kiso Kaido, a very famous Hiroshige design. This is a reproduction of the print in about the original size. you know where we're going with this. We have Hiroshige Seba. Somebody, somewhere, found a bunch of old blocks, didn't even really know what they were, took some pictures, put them up on Yahoo auctions last week. It wasn't just me, a bunch of people said, ooh boy, and bidding. I got 3 sets. There were 8 or 9 sets altogether in the deal, and I got 3 sets. And I gotta really be careful not to screw this up here. Here is, look at this, it's jet black, you can't see it. Hang on a sec. Let me try and figure out the light here. And look at the scale here. That's my thumb. There are trees, there are stuff, there are lettering carved. And a couple of really interesting things about this. One, there's the image, it's okay, that's a key block. We have color blocks, I know how this works, no problem. Bingo, away we go, it's okay. But this key block, if we look at the edge of it, it has been laminated. Some different wood has been put onto the bottom. A few years back, when I was making my Mystique series, one of the prints I carved there, I thought I really want to do a super job on this. So I didn't use cherry wood, I used the top surface of tsuge, boxwood. And it looks like these guys, way back, long before the war, have done exactly the same thing. I just got these yesterday. I haven't had time to poke around with them, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scratch here inside some of this and see what kind of wood this is underneath. But it looks like this might be boxwood. Those guys had exactly the same idea that I did. We need something stronger than cherry. There's also another curious little mystery. The place where the title is, this is the kanji for seba, backwards. This is inlaid. There's a square chunk carved out and an inlay put in. I would expect that if the wood was cherry and they carved out a chunk and put boxwood in just for the text. But this whole top surface is already inlaid. And I had it under the scope yesterday when I got these, and it is so delicately carved. And it's just hand carved. Some dude sat there with his knife, chip, and he didn't have a scope. There's no way they had microscopes back then. Glasses, yes. And maybe, I don't know, maybe a lens over the table, or those little flip down lenses in front of your glasses. We're talking about 1930s, I think, here. It's not quite sure. 1920s, 1930s, I don't know. So yeah, there are glass things available. And there's the set. You can see there's the sky block. In fact, let's have a look. I put that up again. You can see the sky block in blue has different cloud shapes carved into it. There's the moon shape, and you can see this blue pigment around the moon. And there is. You're supposed to rub blue pigment around the moon on this. And the other thing that we were really excited to see, last night Kawai-san came down and he thought, oh my God, look what you've got. But he was a bit worried because the registration marks sometimes on these old blocks are really smashed up. You can see here, there's been an extra couple of things stuck inside. But this is not bad at all. This is not bad at all. Sometimes there's a forest of little, we call kuiki, little bits of wood that are jammed in there to try and adjust the registration. But these blocks are clean and clear. This scooping you see here, this is not carving by the carver. We talked about this just yesterday when I was carving this octopus print. I was mentioning that in the oceans here, you really want to scoop out the wood and make it as smooth as possible. Otherwise it builds up and builds up and builds up and the printers have trouble with it. Well, look at this. I don't know if you can see it here. See this? This Prussian blue on these scoops has been building up and building up and building up. And here it's still okay, but over here it built up so much that the printer said, give me a break. He was spoiling too many prints. The printer grabbed the chisel and scoop, 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 ripped it all off. The carver should have done that, but it was left to the printer. You can clearly see the difference between carvers' leftover strokes and the ones that the printers jammed in, because the carvers hadn't gone quite deep enough. You can see it. Look at this. It's crusty pigment building up. If you're not careful, the pigment builds up. Wait, look at it here. Look at this. It's just coming off. This is lumpy Prussian blue, what they call kinbero here in Japanese. These were really old blocks. If this was Edo era stuff, this little scrap of pigment right in front of me, it would be really valuable. Not valuable, money valuable, but valuable for information. You could tell what kind of pigments they were using if you knew when this stuff was created. Blocks. Cool. Christmas present. They came yesterday.
From who?
Well, I paid for them. Auctions, of course.
Oh, okay, auctions. I wasn't sure if it was the guy in Kyoto had found them.
No.
Oh.
You know, we were talking about the little prints before, the ones who were so carefully printed. Right. You've seen those. We have finally scored some blocks. I've got 3 sets. Kawai-san saw them yesterday and said,
yeah, I use them. Wonderful.
Get this out of the way. What time is it? 9:04 or whatever it is. I guess what are you going to do? Move those blocks and say hello or something? I haven't seen you for a few days.
Yeah, it's long.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, except we all got sick. Of course.
All meaning all
3 of us.
All 3 of us. Okay. Why don't you? Does your church group actually do? You don't do Easter, right? You guys?
No, we do.
You do?
Yeah,
I can't remember which is which. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
So you guys do Christmas time?
Oh yeah, yeah. We like
As in going to church and stuff, Christmas morning?
No, I'm still on Sunday, but we do Christmas Eve.
Look at this.
Yeah.
It's awful. You've seen me do that. We dig around. Just last week, carving the octopus here, right? We had this block. Where is it? We had one of our blocks for the octopus that was really had a bad chunk of wood in the middle.
Whoa, yeah.
But we just avoid it. You don't pick a piece of wood that has the bad part where you need it. So as long as you've got good wood on your shelf, or a good selection of wood on your shelf, you pick and choose. And these guys, the same thing. This is an unbearable, unbelievable. The carver must just have thought, what am I doing? But it didn't matter because it didn't affect the part where the trees were. It's rough to print and chip out, but, it doesn't matter. We were just saying, Cameron, just when you were coming in, pointing out, I'm always talking about making the bottom of the ocean smooth. He didn't do that.
Yeah, it's
he
not
left
smooth
his
at all.
chisel marks. It's building up pigment. And here, the printer got so sick of that building up, he just grabbed his own chisel and chuck, pushed it off.
Yeah.
So any rough scoops like that are never done by the carver. These are done by the printer. And as he's doing so, swearing at the carver, you lazy bastard, leaving it up to me, whatever. But I am really, really looking forward to having a go at printing these. Wow.
Do you know around when they were made?
It's pre-war. It's not Meiji. That's all I can say. 20s, 30s, no idea. Yeah, no idea. I don't know. I'm going to talk to Doysan, our associate. Right. He's done lots of research. He's collecting day by day, bit by bit, research on the different print sets that were published in the 20th century. Yeah. Nobody's ever done research on the reproductions because museum-type people are just not interested in that stuff at all. So he's collecting catalogs and newspaper ads and magazine ads showing Takamizawa publishing our new Hiroshige reproductions in 1932, please buy them, that kind of stuff. And by getting enough information on those advertisements, we can match that up with the blocks and figure out when they are. So right now, sitting here today, I don't know. All I'm going to say is 1920s or 30s, but we may be able to pin it down, actually quite exactly. And the other fun thing, we got these blocks yesterday. The top surface is laminated. And I'm thinking like I'm the only guy who's ever invented this. We did this ourselves when I made the Mystique series. I made that one, number 15, the woman's hair. I laminated the whole top surface with boxwood, and it looks like that's what we have here. I haven't scraped some pigment off. We're going to scrape some pigment off in a bit here and try and figure out what this is. But it looks like it might be boxwood on top. And there it is. It's all carved by hand. There's no machines. There's no nothing. We've been looking at these little tiny prints thinking, come on, it's not possible. It must be some kind of photographic reproduction. And you get this under the scope, and you can see any number of places where the knife has hit and clicked and popped. There's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of reeds here, and one of them is missing. It's broken off. It's carved by a human being, carved by hand. Absolutely. And they did not have our friend Mr. Meiji microscope to deal with. Well, they must have had lenses. You know,
Yeah.
that little round lens I use, that's okay. Or they got these, the flip down things you see on your glasses. But wow. But there they are, carved by hand. I got no time to fool around with them right now. We are swamped. We've never been more swamped with jobs and work and things to do. But here they are. We have these blocks now in hand. Kawaii-san is just salivating. He wants to get going on this and get some of them printed. And we're going to do that. We're going to print some.
Thank you.
But I have actually mixed feelings about this too now. You can imagine, okay, we're going to put these in our catalog. We're going to print these things. Orders will start coming in. But then the blocks, how much responsibility do I have
To preserve.
to preserve and protect these? These are actually working wood blocks to make wood block prints and sell. But every single print we pull from these will wear it down. And, you know, our Momotaro print, we made 10,000 and it was out.
Yeah.
Our Great Wave, we're up to 1,000. We're suspecting we can probably make 3,000 or so. We're not quite sure. So this would make some, it'll make some hundreds. And then what? So I'm really not sure. I'm not going to sit here and jump and say, okay, that's it. We're going to announce the new edition. We're going to 4,000 prints from this. There's the next responsibility here to preserve these things. And I'm really not quite sure how to balance those two things. I forgot I was supposed to turn the camera. Can we get this turned around so you can see it without taking the stream down?
That I don't know.
It says drop frame 0. If I, with my hands, clamp in the plug while we turn the computer, it still says drop frame 0. I think we made it round without any problem.
That's correct.
Good. Okay. Over to you, sir.
Hello, hello. What's next?
What's next is dot carving. I was thinking I was finished the 7 faces of the octopus. We finished the 7th face the other day. I think
great.
it was 2 days ago. I was ready to start announcing that soon I will be doing some test printing. And I found out that I hadn't finished one of the previous faces.
Oh no.
The one with the dots, the octopus dots.
Yeah.
So we've still got a bunch of dots here. And this is the last of the 7 faces. So other than the calligraphy, other than the lettering on the background, this is the last block in the octopus print. So sometime over the new year, what am I going to do? Should I make videos or should I do test printing on this? What's the priority?
Videos of test printing on this. Oh yeah, no, I know you
We
did.
need a new David's Choice video. We need a
that's
new
true.
Ramble video. And I was thinking we're closed 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And that would be a pretty good time for me to make a couple of videos. So I've got to paint. We got to paint and redo and wash the floor. I don't know, whatever. All right, you can look at what those guys are doing. And I'll get
Where are we
back to
recording? Yes, we're in Tokyo, in Asakusa.
Recording. We're not recording.
we're
this
not
is live.
right.
Yes, this is Asakusa in Tokyo.
Did I get any owl socks this year for Christmas? No. Did you get any more owl socks?
No. That was my birthday, I think.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Did you see? You haven't seen the post yet. Somebody posted on Facebook this morning for us. So it's Christmas, whatever it is today. It was Christmas morning over there. Somebody got a Christmas present.
Somebody got a Christmas present.
Have you seen that?
No, not yet.
Their Christmas present was me.
You?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
was
it Steve? I forget who one of the people on the Acolytes page made that picture of me holding the owl, turned it into a woodblock print. And he's selling it, which is okay. And some young lady bought it and gave it to her young man for Christmas, a print of me. And he got excited and posted it to Facebook. Look what I got for Christmas. And it's
so fun.
me. And I think my head just exploded when I saw this. I've known that print was there, and I get that as fans, it's fun, it's all whatever. But that somebody would think about giving their nearest and dearest a woodblock print for Christmas. That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
But they give him a print of me, and the guy's happy about this. And I'm thinking, wait, the universe just what?
Yeah.
Well, I'm laughing as I say this, of course, but I don't even know what to think about this. Yeah. And it's there on the Acolyte page. Look what I got for Christmas, and it's me. My daughter, if she sees that, she's just going to go, oh my God. Yeah.
Everybody deserves a Dave for Christmas. Cody get me this.
What about Dave?
How about that Dave? You've got wood block prints for Christmas. Yep.
No, I buy wood blocks.
Yeah.
Nobody gave me those blocks. I had to buy them.
Yeah.
Also, the video tonight. I spent the last, yesterday was closed, so I kept the door closed, and I made the video to announce the next year's series.
All right.
And I had two problems. One is, I had lots of small problems, but I finished it last night.
Yeah.
Instead of uploading, I thought I better check and see.
Okay.
And I did check, and there was 5 or 6 or 7 mistakes. Same as you found with the last video.
Okay.
You did the last.
Yeah.
So I didn't upload it last
Okay.
night. I'll change it in the morning. So this morning I was trying to fix all the things that were wrong with it, and there's a problem. I'm showing the pictures of some of the previous subscription prints.
Okay.
And last year's series, the Loot series,
Yeah.
I went to the website to get the large blow-up version
Yeah.
to put in here, and it's wrong.
Too small?
It's
Or-
pixelated. The one marked as 12 underline large
Yeah.
is actually like only 80 pixels high.
Oh,
it's all
okay.
pixelated.
I'll go check.
But we don't have one to scan. We don't have the prints.
Number
They're
12?
homemade.
But I probably still have the original TIFF, so I probably just resized it incorrectly when I put it online. So I'll get it up there. Sorry about that. I do have the largest one.
So I've got to just pop that in place and then re-render the video and then put it up.
All right.
So you can announce, or I'm talking announce, but the video announcing next year's series will go up within the next hour or so. Can I trust you? Or can I
Yeah, I'll get that ready to go right away. So the large image for the last one.
Yeah, the guy the guy with the telescope.
Okay, great.
And then they fix the one online because the online one is wrong.
Okay.
When people click to get the enlargement, instead they
get a smaller
super pixelated smaller one. So
Interesting. Sorry about that. Must have mislabeled them as I was resizing them.
And over the past couple of days, literally over the past, more than once a day, people are posting now to the YouTube channel.
Where are you?
Yes, where are you?
Yeah.
They're not hostile yet, but the natives are restless. And so clearly I'm way behind now. And Patreon people, they're so good. Only one has actually, quote, complained, unquote.
Yeah.
But there's all these people on Patreon. I promised them we'll take your money and hire a camera and I'll make lots more videos. And I've made fewer videos since starting Patreon.
Yeah.
Because of what else happened from Patreon. It exploded our business.
Yeah.
So clearly in January when we're quieter, is it going to be quieter, Cameron?
I hope so. for your sake, for YouTube's sake. Let me make that t-shirt.
But yeah, if you see me getting more sidetracked or something, or whatever, just try and get me back on it. Videos. And at some point, the YouTube algorithm is going to get angry and drop us.
Yeah.
If that happens, we're in big trouble.
Yeah. Oh. Patreon, have you had any change of supporters after the big controversy going around the
I have received one. Well, we'll see how many people drop out. We don't know that until the end of the month when people have dropped, But I have received one email, and the guy said, in essence, he said, Dave, I like what you're doing. I want to keep supporting you, but I am out of here. I cannot continue to support Patreon given their policy of discrimination, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I haven't answered him. I'm supposed to answer him today here. And I'll just have to say, okay, I understand. Thank you very much for the kind words. And I myself wasn't really aware there was a huge controversy here. It doesn't seem to affect my particular corner of Patreon. We're not uploading porn.
Yeah.
Patreon is struggling with this. I know how much do the background struggle is PayPal is not paying various porn purveyors. Yeah. And Patreon, of course, their system works through PayPal. So when PayPal chops somebody off, Patreon has to chop them off.
Yeah.
And people are yelling at Patreon, how come you're allowing this discrimination against us? And there's various different gay groups and all different kinds of stuff, all things going back and forth. And I guess poor Jack, he's sort of stuck in the middle of it, and at some point he has had to pull down some channels, either because of his own desire to keep it family friendly or because of payment processing problems. I don't know all the background on this. And he's stuck in the middle, and the activists have become active. And, you know.
I think it's not only that one, but also some political commentator or something got taken down too. But I don't know the story on that one at all. So I just heard there have been a couple of things that are upsetting people.
So it looks politically motivated, that they're a lefty group taking down right-wing, Breitbart type stuff. Yes, so that's a huge part of it too, I think. And I don't know, if you're a platform like Facebook or Google or Patreon, whatever, how do you balance these things? I really don't know. Do you claim to be, okay, we are going to be ethically neutral, politically neutral, morally neutral, just provide a platform? And then, of course, the hate mongers and child pornographers will take over. So what do you do? How do you draw the line?
Yeah. No matter where you put it, you're going to upset some people.
Yeah, and who is making the decisions on what's acceptable or not? I mean, if I was Mark Zuckerberg running Facebook, I would not want child pornographers on there. But as soon as you try and take them down, they yell discrimination. And so I don't know. And once you start making your own decisions, okay, we will not allow this, then that's it. You're in there. You have to keep making decisions, and you have to own it. And they're trying at the moment not to own it by saying, look, we're just a platform, you know, we're providing the platform, you know. But, so it's a hugely difficult problem. If I were king of the world or king of Facebook, whatever, I have no idea how I would handle this, you know.
According Yummy says, the problem is that by their own admission, Patreon decides to ban somebody case by case, even if the offense is the same between two different...
because there's always different colors and different ways to look at this, you know. Whatever glass you're looking at, there's two sides to look from it. You know? And like I said, I don't know the details. I haven't followed this, and it could be that they've been inconsistent. We're human beings, and I'm inconsistent. So I'm sure Jack is too. Yeah. So I hope the platform survives. I think what probably will happen is you'll get this starting up of a right-wing Patreon or something, where they encourage right-wing people to come there and cluster around and post their stuff and collect their money. So you probably get the emergence of a bunch of different Patreon-type sites, where one is a rainbow Patreon, one is a right-wing Patreon, you know, this kind of stuff, using different names, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you choose your poison, you know. Rather than one single platform that tries to keep everybody happy. And I guess that's like the media goes. There's people who read the New York Times and people who read Fox News. You know, that's unfortunate, but that's the way it's gone. It's polarized. So things like crowdfunding platforms also will end up becoming polarized, I suppose. You know? But no, I haven't seen any wave of people abandoning me. At the end of the month, we'll see the number. The numbers do go down every month because you know, people leave at the end of the month, and then they come back. Different people drop in during the month. Blah blah. So we lose, what is it, about 10 or so at the end of each month, and we build up about 10 people during the month. So it's extremely stable. When you look at the revenue from Patreon for us for the past year, it's rock solid stable within 5% each month.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. My God, it's helped so much this last year. And I haven't ignored those people, but I really have not been a good boy about letting them know how much it's helped us. You know? I tend to start to take it for granted, and I'm really sorry to say that, but it's true, you know. You sort of, I don't forget about it, but you realize that months have gone by without posting a video, and I haven't even said thank you, and I've done nothing. And, you know. And we know we're working hard, but they don't really know that. You know? Please keep an eye on the time for me. I can't go late today. I'm the party host at 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
We have the next few days now. I don't even want to talk about it. Just, oh my God. And they're still pouring in as an email a few minutes ago, just before I started streaming, an Australian family. There's 10 of us, 4 adults and 6 kids, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. We want 2 pre-parties. And dear lady, I cannot help you with 4-year-old kids at this time of year. So I'm sorry.
So it's 9:23 if that helps.
We'll just run to 30 or something and let me know so we can jump ship here.
Okay.
And I did the, as you know, you've seen the mailbox. I did the order processing.
Yeah, thank you.
I haven't sent. What did I do this morning? I sent all my yesterday.
Okay.
I've done nothing today.
Okay, I got that.
Is somebody there today? I'm not even sure what the schedule is.
I don't remember, but I'll check on that.
I did a normal. I caught up on everything. So as of yesterday morning,
Okay.
I sent the Yasui-san, but I didn't do any other order processing yesterday and this morning. So.
Okay. And the new subscription is in the software.
Okay, and I haven't entered. There were a couple of other subscriptions. I didn't do anything about subscriptions. Okay. I didn't touch those at all. I just did the individual order processing.
Okay.
So even older subscriptions for portraits, I saw a couple in there. I didn't do those either. So.
Okay.
And what I did was again, I moved the order processing software to my own computer, so I didn't have to keep running upstairs for the last 4 days. And I moved it back last night, so I believe I got it all correct. But keep an eye open for anomalies this morning when you're doing things.
Will do. So it's just that last little corner of dots, and then you're ready to go. Oh yeah.
This last headful of dots.
Yeah. Is there nothing on this wide spot of paper?
That's just, I'm not really sure. What is that? That's empty.
Okay. Oh.
But this has to be cut. That's not cut yet. Thanks. So I don't remember. I thought this block was rolling along, and I must have abandoned it to do something else. I can't remember. I then forgot about it. So.
Yeah.
And when I went to our staff pinch, there's supposed to be 3 kids today. There's only going to be 2. And tomorrow there's another 1, I think. So we've seen the last of day chant for this year.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are going and visiting family and stuff.
We've seen Tickles and we won't see her again. And a little bit mixed feelings about this, They just say, okay, no problem, see you next year. And like, it's 2 weeks to go. I'm like, hey, Tickles, what about next week? Your normal days, Thursday, Friday. Nope, can't come, goodbye. Oh.
Yeah.
So it's up to me to do it by myself or try and find somebody else to fill in. So. Good morning, Audrey-san.
How
are you?
Good, how are you?
Have you had a pleasant holiday time?
Holiday time?
Holiday time. Have you had a nice Christmas?
Not really, no.
Oh.
I have something not for you, David.
Oh.
Sorry, for some of the staff. This is the paper they printed in Kyoto when they did a washi workshop.
Printed?
Made. With Asaka Sensei.
Cool.
In Kyoto, in Fukui?
Kyoto. Sorry, I'm not sure where the workshop was.
Oh, you didn't go?
I didn't go, so Asaka Sensei gave it to
me. Yeah, they went to the Papyrus-kan in Fukui up near Iwano-san's place. Right. And I think also some of them did in Iwano-san's place. He let them rock prints. I mean, Aoyama-san was trying one, I think, in Iwano-san's workshop. So. We have parties, Audrey-san. I got the brushes ready, but I haven't checked the bench very carefully, so. Let me just finish this little tiny corner here, and then camera-san, we're out of here. Excuse me. Now the schedule is going to be, what's today? Today is Wednesday. So there'll be a normal stream tomorrow, and you know what I will be doing on it. I will be carving more of these dots. In fact, this is probably it for me to the end of the year. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
And in advance, next week, 1, 2, and 3, there will be no streams. We will stop streaming for 3 days. The shop itself will be closed.
Yep.
except that somebody posted to Facebook that we were going to be open on the 3rd. I had meant that I had meant that to be a guerrilla thing where I said I'm going to be here, but don't tell anybody.
Well, that can be fixed.
Whatever. It's okay. That's out there now. It's, so. I was going to do it like a normal Tuesday where officially closed, but I'll probably be here. But then this next week, I'm not really quite sure. I don't know how it's going to go. We are very, very busy with parties. We're very, very short of staff, so I'm not quite sure. There might be times the next few days where I just can't do this. So.
Yeah. Is it cold in here? It's not super cold, but I know when I go upstairs it will be colder. Are you still barefoot, they ask? Are you cold over there? Because I look all bundled up that you don't...
I'm fine. But we will be... The heater is not on at the moment, but now we're getting ready for the opening day for the shop. We were going to put the heater on. I just didn't do it this morning. I'm okay, but the shop itself has to have a heater, so Okay, I think that's it, Cameron. Right. I got dots down here. Excuse me, something caught in my throat. Okay, it's going to be a busy day for us here. We'll be back same time, same station tomorrow here. People over there, it's still Christmas Day, right?
Yep, so Merry Christmas. Happy today.
Hope you get lots of nice woodblock for Christmas.
Prints and tools and paper. Okay, let's see.
Sign us off, sir. Back tomorrow, same time, same station tomorrow. Thank you again.